Assalamualaikum. This is Naaila. Ask the counselor, how are you doing? Let's see, I'm going to get myself all set up here. I've got some questions to answer for today. And we've been doing this for a couple of months now. You know how I work. I want to know who's here with us. Where are you coming from? I am in Atlanta, Georgia. Assalamu alaikum, Shahada. How are you this morning? So let me hear from you. Hi. Let me hear from you. And I have got questions to answer for today. I've got a great team of people at About Islam that are in the background making sure I stay straight. Oh, you guys are really coming in. Assalamu alaikum, Miriam. Good to see you. Good to see you. Do know that you can also ask your questions. Okay, so you can present them and you can put them, you can send them in the inbox, or you can ask them here, whatever it is that you feel most comfortable with. I really will try to get to everyone as much as I possibly can. Today, guess what? I don't really have a topic, so we can do whatever it is that we like within reason, within reason. So who am I? I am Naaila Mumaris Clay, and I am one half of what is called That Clay Couple. And we guide you to have a genius relationship with yourself so you can master all of the relationships that matter to you the most. And a key relationship is, of course, the relationship with yourself. But that relationship with yourself, inshallah, is rooted with Allah. If we lose that connection, I think most of us here, hopefully all of us, inshallah, will agree how important that is. So again, let me know where you're coming from. Don't be shy. We're all family here, and I'm going to answer these questions that I've been given for today. Assalamu alaikum, Laura. All right, so it says, my partner's father passed away before he could get his blessings to marry me. He initially said no. Now he says that we cannot get married, even though he would have his family's blessings because his dad said no. What can I do? First, I would say that this is definitely a disappointing situation. And so understand that sometimes our feelings and what we are actually able to do about a situation are two totally different things. Because even I, just reading that, I'm disappointed. It feels sad. I don't want that. If I were in that position, I would likely feel hurt. So we're going to acknowledge the emotion and all of the things that come with such an incident. But I want us to look at what is within your locus of control. What is it that you can really do something about here? Because if the brother, if he's saying, I'm not going to do it because my father said no before he passed, regardless of whether or not you agree with his position, if he doesn't want to get married, he doesn't want to get married. And that's the part that you really can't do anything about. And so what you can do something about, this is the part that is within your locus of control, that is acceptance. You know, there's something that we call radical acceptance. And radical acceptance is a nice clinical term for what we also say it amongst friends. It is what it is. And that is what it is what it is. There is nothing that you can do to try to convince, try to change his mind. And I want to ask this. Do you really want to have to go and have to change someone's mind to marry you? If I have to go into convincing mode to get you to marry me, if I have to persuade someone, if I have to put that type of effort and energy in to what is supposed to be a very happy time, I don't know if it's worth it. Is this the foundation that you would like to begin your marriage on? Is this the type of relationship that you want to walk into? I want to be able to do something about your decision about whether or not you and another person should get married. No, if we're not making a mutual agreement, this should be mutual. If we're not making a mutual agreement here, this really may not be something that you want to step out on. Okay, so I'm going to go to number 2. Remember, I want to know who's here today. I want to know what countries are we representing today, because I know about Islam travels the globe. It has a far reach. So let me know how far we've gotten out here today. Okay, so here's another question. I have been married. I've been married since last year. My parents have fixed the marriage and all were happy. And I've gone to a foreign country for employment. My wife has made a lot of problems in my house now. She is saying that she will not return to the house. And we have taken care of her as one of the house members. She thinks that she has been oppressed in my house, and my parents are crying and upset because of her attitude. What I have to do, I'm not understanding. I want to get a divorce from her, and she is telling me she doesn't want to maintain relations with my family members. What do you suggest for me? Woo, that was a lot. That was a lot in there. There's a marriage. There's some extended family issues. There's some issues with the in-laws, and then it definitely sounds like the wife is living with his parents. So then we have, a direct mix right here in the house. Tension, this sounds really, really chaotic. And the husband, he's away. He's not even in the country. All right, Didi, walaikum salam. Didi is in Ohio. I was just in Ohio. When was it? I was in Ohio I travel a lot, y'all. July. I travel a lot doing what I do. You about Islam gives me the opportunity to do what I do right from home. But I travel a lot to do this. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this question because there's so much here to unpack. What do I suggest? I'm going to tell you. Oh, Arifa is from India. Thank you. Thank you for joining us from India. What time is it there? It's 9. It's after 9 a.m. here. What time is it there in India? So there are a couple of things here. When I'm going through your challenges, it's definitely going to be a challenge to resolve a problem and you're not there. You can't be there to assess it. And you're hearing your side of your parents, you're hearing from your wife, and you can't even have your own experience in it because you're really stuck in the middle. So this has to be very difficult for you because you're not there to see what's going on in real time to be able to get the most comprehensive assessment. Now, if you were there, I definitely believe you'd be thrown in the mix too. However, it's so hard to be able to even get an unbiased view from afar. So that part is going to be a challenge, okay? So I'm going to make the assumption that you're not coming home right now to address this issue, and you want to see what it is that you can do from the position that you're in. And you're saying that you want to get a divorce from her. All right, Islamically, the divorce talaq is in the hands of the man. But I want you to ask yourself, are there some other remedies? Are there some other things that I can do about this situation? There's some questions to ask. What if your wife is being oppressed? I don't know whether or not she is, but she may believe and feel that she is. And we are not the ones to tell her that she is not. The oppressor cannot tell someone out. I mean, the person who's being oppressed, we don't get to tell them that they're not. Allah defines the definition of oppression. And if a person believes that they are experiencing that, it would be very unkind to be able to say, no, you're not, and this is not true, and this is not what's happening. So what if she does feel this way? What if she does believe that this is happening? And what if it is? And those are three separate questions, because she could believe it and she could feel it, but it may not be true. She could believe it and she could feel it, and it could be true. And what you would need to do in each of those situations may be two totally separate things. Now, can I tell you what it is that you need to do? I would say the first thing you might want to do is to be able to answer those questions in the most unbiased position possible. I realize this will be difficult because these are your parents. And parents pull heartstrings, and they pull rank, and they have so much honor over us that this is a very, very sensitive situation. And so I get it. I'm definitely totally going to speak on all of the things here that are going to make this hard for you, young man. However, these are the questions that I would suggest that you ask, and then move in a way so that everyone is being treated fairly. Now, this is going to be, again, the obstacle. How much can you do to ensure fairness when you're not there? Not much you can do. So I want you to think about, is this going to be the ideal living situation while you're married to this sister? And again, I'm not telling you what to do, but I want to give you some questions that you need to think about so that you can make the best possible decision. That's not my job. My job is not to tell people what to do. And my job is to get you to really think about the things in your situation that you may not have considered, and to make the best possible decision so you can master this relationship, so it can be, you can, one, earn Allah's favor, two, feel good with yourself, and three, respect the other people involved. Okay, inshallah, we can do that. Ooh, we got Malaysia here today. I don't think we have Malaysia here in a while. Assalamu alaikum. Someone else from India. All right, so I have another question here, and I'm going to also remind you, if you have your own, you can definitely send the message through About Islam, or you can put it here in the comment section, and I will do everything that I can to get to you today. All right, so this is the last one. I am definitely desperately seeking a good answer. Inshallah, Allah's got an answer for us, right? I am 22 years of age, while the person I wish to marry is 11 years older than me. He's married, he has 4 daughters, alhamdulillah. But his married life is awful, as his wife continuously keeps on arguing and complaining and is abusive to the children. Hence, he is seeking a second marriage. His mother and sister also came with a proposal, but my father has flatly refused. I wish to get married and become the second wife. This would be my first marriage. Inshallah, what am I to do in this situation? Would Islam allow such a marriage? Thank you. You said I'm doing a great job. I appreciate you. That feels sweet to hear. Inshallah, I pray with Allah's permission that this will be beneficial to someone. Again, we have one that's packed here. And very often when people hear the word polygyny, they think, oh no, don't do that, don't do that. But you know what? Polygyny is a beautiful union, and it is still marriage. Polygyny is marriage with more than one person. And so Allah has made it permissible, and we are going to trust in His infinite wisdom, and we embrace the things that Allah has made permissible for us, even if we have decided that it is not for us as individuals. Now, this young lady believes that it is for her. And so I'm going to say, you know, the thing about the brother being 11 years older than you, So there are age differences. We can look at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Khadijah, radiallahu anha. There was an age difference. Sometimes age differences won't make such a big deal in a marriage. Okay, and so, but I want to bring your attention to a couple of things. Okay, and so you ask if Islam would allow this marriage. I mean, it's permissible for you to marry this man. However, but your father has also said no. And your father is your wali. So you do have an issue here. However, as an adult, you do get to choose who it is that you want to marry. But again, I'm going to your father is your wali, and you will need the consent of your wali in order to get married. So there is an issue here to be able to resolve. Perhaps you and your father could resolve this with the intervention from another family member. Someone else could talk to him, but that situation would definitely need to be worked out. Do you want to marry someone that your family will not be open to? You know, before I got married, and suitors would come to me for marriage, one of the things that I would ask myself is, can I take him home? If it was not someone that I could comfortably bring home and my family would be able to embrace and to enjoy, and he would have a good experience with them and they would have a good experience with him, I wasn't going to do it. Because I just really was not willing to add something additional, an unnecessary fitna and just some unnecessary family mess to my life that just didn't have to be. I wasn't that attached to him. So I want you to think about that. Okay, but there are a couple of things I want to go over. And the first thing is this. I'm going to read it because I inshallah you're listening, and so oftentimes I get inboxes from people who say, you answered my question, that was my question, so I'm gonna act like you're here. Okay, his married life is awful as his wife continuously keeps on arguing and complaining and is abusive to the children, hence he is seeking a second marriage. Let's just stop right there. Stop. Pause. That is not a reason to seek another marriage. I would not recommend any brother or sister to sacrifice themselves and volunteer their life, their time, their deen, and their love to be the sacrificial lamb and say, I will be the one who will step forward and allow you to have the happiness that you want in your life, while you continue to have this marital wreck on the other side that you have not addressed. He needs to address his marital issue. Now, if he wants to take another wife while he addresses the marital issue with his existing wife, alhamdulillah. But we cannot ignore that there is a mess over here on the other side, and you, based on the way you wrote that is his motivation for seeking another one. So when he gets upset with you, does he not try to resolve that? And then does he just say, I'll keep her, but I'll just go and get a third wife? I mean, at what point are we not responsible for seeking some resolution and some problem solving? You know, we get what our hand has earned. And when we want peace and we seek to earn peace and we seek to create peace, it's a beautiful thing. There's a blessing for the Muslim when we seek to reconcile the Muslim. And so that doesn't just mean for other people. I have a duty to reconcile my own relationships with another Muslim. And so I'm going to ask you, is this the type of person that you would like to marry? Do you want a husband? And I'm going to say this for the brothers too. Do you want a husband or a wife that when the problem comes up, that the goal is not to try to resolve the problem, but ignore it and just to move on to someone else? We got to be better, people. We got to do better. Abdullah said, Ya Allah. That's how I feel. Assalamu alaikum. We have someone here from Singapore. So I am going to check my questions to make sure that I don't have any other wonderless things from anyone else that I haven't overlooked anyone. Does anyone have any questions for me? I'll do what I can to answer them, but I think that I've gotten them for today. And so since I got them for today. So since we still have a few moments left for us to be together, so if I could give you a couple of tips, let's see, some things that I believe that people should be mindful of in regard to marriage. Okay, this kind of sort of relates to the last one, the question that the sister had in regard to polygyny. Sometimes in marriage, we have problems and we have conflicts, and we believe that those problems and those conflicts are because of we're not compatible. We just can't get along, and we argue and we bicker all the time. When we haven't dealt with our personal issues, when we haven't dealt with the things that may hurt us, the issues that we may have from our childhood, we may have issues of abuse, we may have issues of abandonment, we may have issues with depression and feeling lonely, we may have issues with we're human. I mean, we all are flawed in some way. And when we don't address those issues, we typically attract someone who will bring them out. And it is my belief that it is Allah's way of trying to heal us and to bring us into awareness of our stuff so that we can work on it. But that's not how most people see it. Most people see it as, you know what? I don't like you. I can't get along with you. I need to get rid of you. I need to divorce you. You don't fear Allah. These are the things that people say to someone else. Whereas it really may not be a compatibility issue. It really could be that this person actually brings out the very thing about you that you have not addressed. You know, a man may say, my wife, we argue and we fuss all the time. It could be that you are short-tempered. And she may have a personality that brings that out about you. And a wife, she may say, my husband, he's controlling. He doesn't want me to do this and he doesn't want me to do that. Well, you may have an issue with acknowledging someone having a degree of rank over you. And you may have had an issue with taking suggestions and recommendations and listening to others before now. And your husband, he just brings this part of you out. So sometimes it's not a compatibility issue. Sometimes we match up with the person who really does bring those things out of us. And so this is what I want you to think about. The next time that you're you're with your husband or your wife and something comes up in you and you know you don't like it, and you don't really know what it is, I want you to really think about the times when you felt this way that have nothing to do with your spouse. And think about, what can I do to resolve this feeling when I'm not in front of this person and when I am in front of this person? It really may not be that the two of you can't get along. It could be that you're uncomfortable with dealing with your stuff and trying to make sure that you get what you strive for. And that if you strive for better, inshallah, Allah gives us better. You know, he says if we take one step towards him, he takes 2 steps towards us. So inshallah, seek to be better. All right, so that's my tip for you for today. I see Didi said, So I don't know what that is about. So I'm sure Didi will let us know. I'm so glad again to be here with all of you. Please let us know what you think in the comments. Always come back to About Islam and go to their website at aboutislam.net to get your questions asked, to learn about Islam, to share with someone else for the purpose of dawah. I will see you again in 2 weeks at the end of this month with Allah's permission. I'm so grateful that you have allowed me to be here with you today. I pray that Allah's favor will be with all of you, that he will send the angels for comfort and he will grant you peace. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum.